Hello everyone and welcome. In this video we're going to be looking at the HackTheBox machine called Stratosphere. So I've done a quick nmap scan and pulled out some results. So we have SSH on port 22, we've got HTTP on port 80, a lot of banners, and as well as an HTTP proxy running on 8080. So let's have a quick look. 10.10.10.64 was it? Yeah, 64. And then we get a page saying Stratosphere we protect credit. Click on this. Nothing seems to happen. Have a look at the source code. Nothing apparently seems to be happening. So the next thing was to have a look at the HTTP proxy running on 8080. And also it appears to be of the same page. So alright, so the next thing I did was to do a quick deb scan. So HTTP 10.10.10.64 port 8080. I'll leave that to run, and eventually two pages actually popped up. So one was I think the manager.html. I spelled that wrongly. And you can see straight away, even from this error, we can see Apache Tomcat is actually running this machine. Apache Tomcat 8.14. I think I might have got that wrong, so I'm just going to wait for the scan. Yeah, okay, so we get a manager. We'll get an HTTP login saying site Tomcat manager application. So this appears to be saying, this is a sort of a Tomcat, Apache Tomcat actually installed on this machine. From the results here, we couldn't actually tell if Tomcat was actually installed because the fingerprint was not quite descriptive. And if you cancel that, you can actually see that this is actually running Apache Tomcat. So after enough enumeration, found another directory /monitor, monitoring, I think. Yep. And then we get this page. Monitoring example welcome.action. Click on sign on. Try to sign in admin, password. Click and submit. And then we get features under construction. So after enough enumeration, to find out what kind of service is actually running on this machine, or what kind of web application. So viewing the source page also does not show exactly what is going on. So a quick search on this. So we could do Apache Tomcat So after a lot of enumeration, it appears to show that this machine is actually running Apache Struts, some sort of Apache Struts. As we can see here from some of the documentation revealing Apache Struts. So one of the things I did was to look for Apache Struts vulnerability, and Apache Struts2 I think was, and we found a lot of vulnerabilities explaining the Apache Struts2 vulnerability. So we can say it's looking up those pages and it found those pages. I'm just going to end this here. Do a clear search exploit Apache Struts. And there are quite a lot of ones we've got here. And the one I actually found was this Apache Struts2 41570. And if I go into this directory, I think I've got it there. Yeah. So we try to run that, say Python 41570.py. It says URL and command. Paste that there, ID, we get a response. Okay, so we have a sort of so we have a sort of remote code execution, because we can execute code. I can do who am I. Systemcat 8. So if we do pwd, you can see this is the directory we are, and list -l. We can see some directories here owned by root. Then there's this file owned by root, but also only just read only. So we can see the contents of that file. So we can say cat db_connect. Found some credentials suggesting a database, username and password. So we can try to enumerate if we've got a database. So we can do psaux and grep MySQL. We see some MySQL running in this directory. So you can see MySQL running in sbin directory. So the next thing I did was to try to see if we can dump all of the database. So cat command txt, and this apparently was the command. So the command is logging in with the username and password we found in those files, user admin, password admin, all databases, or using MySQL dump command. All databases, skip lock tables, and then we were able to dump credentials, and we could see we found some credentials belonging to a user probably called Richard. We confirm this if we go on here and do we could do cat etc password. You can see here we've got a user called Richard. So armed with our credential, remember we found an SSH port open. Let's see if this password is going to work. So we got Richard. Clicking on that. So we've got SSH Richard at 10.10.10.64. So our password, paste that in. We logged in as Richard, do a list, and then we can see the user flag, wc-c user.txt. We can see the MD5, the number of MD5 characters in the file. If we do a list, we can see there's a file here called test.py. So we do a long list. We see this file belongs to the user root, but also belongs to group users called Richard. So let's have a look at Richard's groups, because Richard belongs to the group Richard, and also to the group and also to some other groups. So let's have a look at what Richard can do. So we do sudo -l. So Richard can execute this test.py script with no password. So if we do sudo and just give this, copy this here, declare screen, and do that again. Okay, so we're getting some responses without asking us for password. So if you try to solve all of this, this was not actually the way to root. So now to get root, let's have a look at this file again. We can see we could actually, group users can actually read this file. So if we do cat test.py, see this file imports #lib, and there's got some series of questions you have to try to solve this. So for instance, if we run the script, it asks us to solve this. So we can do hash cracker. So let's submit this to CrackStation and see if we could crack this password real quick. So we found this is the result. So we supply that in. Is access for another one. This is actually a rabbit hole for those who attempted to crack this all the way to the end. So paste that in as well. Copy the result in. Let's close this. And then it asks for this one. Try to paste that in. legend 72. And then it asks us this one, and this one was actually quite a very tricky one, because if you try to crack this, and click on that, so you can see not found. So what I did here was I created a file, I created a brute forcer called blake.py, which attempts to do this, because if you look at this file, let's just look at this, clear screen, cat test.py, you can see the encryption used here is actually bcrypt. So this is the bcrypt algorithm used for this. You can see the one before MD4, MD SHA-1, SHA-5, and that's why probably CrackStation was able to crack it. But for this one, it's actually using bcrypt. So I wrote a Python script and eventually cracked the password, which I think, if I have it, see if I've got it here. No, not there. Credentials, I think. Yeah, so this was the password after cracking it with a Python script. So if we go back here now and try to answer all these questions. So we can just do this real quick, copy that. Then the next one was Ninja Shinobi. Paste that there. Legend 72. And then the last one, which I cracked, was Pharaoh 6610. And you can see at the end of it, it says root success pi not found. Because looking at this, the file initially was supposed to crack all of this and then run this success.py. So that seems to be a rabbit hole. So if we look closely at this file, test.py, we can see it's using the input function, and there is a vulnerability associated with this. Apart from that, how to actually get root from this is there's a vulnerability called Python Library Hijacking. Let's have a look at this one. Yeah, and if you read this blog post, it talks about how you could escalate privileges by writing, hijacking a Python library. Because what normally happens is, if Python is going to run this script, it's going to look for this hash lib, first of all, in the directory where you have this file. Then it goes to other places on the system to actually look for to import this hash lib, because this hash lib is actually a Python file. So what we can do here is, since we can execute this with sudo privileges, we'll find a way to trick this script to look for the hash lib. Let me clear that. So cat test.py. So what I'm saying is we'll look for a way to trick the script to look for this in our own directory. And if we could put a shell into this hashlib file, then when we execute the script, it's going to execute as well, or try to import this file, and then give us a reverse shell, or give us a bash shell, sorry. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to nano hashlib.py. So we do import os, import sys, pin bash. Going to make it executable. Look at it now, we've got the hashlib.py here. So if we try to run the script again, Python will look for hashlib.py, finds in our directory, imports it, and then executes that command. And there we go, we root. So if I do id now, I'm root, cd root, list, for the root flag, wc.c root txt. That's it. So the important exploit to learn there is the Python library hijacking. If Python is going to execute, if a script, is going to look, if it's got an import like we've seen in this script that we looked earlier on, it's importing hashlib. So it's going to import hashlib, and then it's going to look for that file first in our directory before it goes to look for it anywhere else on the system. So that's Stratosphere. I really enjoyed the privilege escalation, and thanks for watching.